You still there? Well, you got them. We're going to start, okay? And we'll figure it out as we go. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Fortuna Planning Commission meeting tonight for August 28th. So the meeting is being held in accordance with the Brown Act as currently in effect under the State of Emergency Services Act, the Governor Emergency Declaration for the COVID deal. So to start off, we're going to start off with the flag salute. We're not going to all stand and rise and do the whole thing. This doesn't mean that any disrespect to anybody out there. It's just the fact that it's what's going on at this time in the world, and we'll get back to that as soon as we can. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Somebody went away. Can I get the roll call, please?
All right. Commissioner Blakely.
Here. Finally.
Commissioner Bradley.
Here.
Commissioner Church.
Here.
Commissioner Halley.
Here.
Commissioner McClendon. Not here. Chairman Mobley.
Here.
Commissioner Moore. And Vice Chair Rogers.
Here.
All right. Can I get approval of the July 28th meeting?
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
Art,
Somebody like to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, Kathy, can we get a roll call again?
All right. Blakely.
Here.
Yes.
Approving the minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Bradley.
yes. And is my video working?
It is not.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay. Commissioner Church.
Yes.
Commissioner Halley.
Yes.
Chairman Mobley.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore. Or she's not here. Vice Chair Rogers.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to open it up for oral comment from the public. So public can be heard on any matter that is not on the agenda tonight. Speakers will be addressing the commission will be held to about 3 minutes. Be advised, by law, the commission is not able to deliberate or take action on any issues presented to the commission during oral comment. So anybody would like to call in at this time, the number is 707-725-1484. Should be coming up on your screen. So while we wait, anybody come by and see the new scale at work? It takes up a lot of real estate.
I saw it when I was down there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we got it operational on Saturday, and then when the power went off today, it kind of threw us for a loop. Everything was going really well till that happened, and we had to run and get everything back to the old way because I couldn't bring in, like at this moment, we can't bring power to the new scale office while the power's out. So we had to go back to one scale and change everything back the way it was. So it was a test for everybody this afternoon for about an hour. But it takes up yeah, it's a little tough to get everybody to get the hint and which way to go. And we're utilizing the side door where all the garbage trucks park on that side to have people come in and they drive across the inside of the transfer station instead of trying to turn around out there in the parking lot. So it's been working, and we'll see how well that goes for a little while. It's definitely a testing project in a project in motion. How's that?
Okay, it doesn't look like we have any public comments for this portion.
Okay.
I'll move that
So,
I move that we close the public comments.
Second.
okay, Kathy, another roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner Blakely,
Yes.
Commissioner Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Church,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallie,
Yes.
Chairman Mobley,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rogers.
Yes.
All right, moving on. So tonight we got a public hearing, consider recommendation to the city Fortuna City Council regarding the amendment to the Fortuna zoning map, amending the zoning of parcel 202-061-006, residential family, single family, R1, and making it into a multifamily, adding a T-zone, which is a mobile home park. The applicant is Ray Chisholm. So can we get some background on this, please, from staff?
Yes. Let me see if this works. No. Oh.
Now she's great when it works.
Oh, it works. It works just fine. Okay. Oh. Hmm. Is that sharing the screen, Katie?
Yes.
There, we're seeing the overhead, the
The full
satellite
view.
view.
You're seeing the full view?
Yeah, the satellite view of it, yes.
Great, okay. So yeah, as Chairman Mobley read the agenda item, this is a planning commission consideration of recommending to the city council an amendment of the Fortuna zoning map, which would rezone this parcel that's shown bound in red from its current single family residential zoning to residential multifamily, and also adding a mobile home combining zone, which is a zoning overlay. So you'd have basically two zones combined there, which would support development of a future mobile home park. The applicant is Ray Chisholm, and he is present here with his agent, Jeff Lakeham. And this is located on Ronaville Road. You can see the long frontage here, and then on the east side. And you can also see neighboring residential developments accessed by Loop Road. You've got Hilltop Drive, which is a single family residential subdivision. And then on the west side of Ronaville Road, you see, I think this is the not the Lawndale, but basically an extension of Lawndale Sinistraro subdivision. And then further to the south, this is all single family residential zoned, not developed yet, obviously. This is approximately an 8-acre parcel. There is a steep slope on this northwestern side. So the development would really be down here in the lower, more flat area. And so the applicant is interested in developing the site in the future. This is not the actual approval of a mobile home park is not under consideration. It's just the rezone tonight. And he's interested in approximately 28 mobile home units on that site. And let's see, so I'll go. So this is the city zoning map. And you can see that this medium orange color is all single family residential. So it does have that R16 zoning currently. And then what really drives or establishes development is before the zoning map is adopted, the general plan land use designation is really what lays out the uses of the city. The zoning map just fine tunes that development with the zoning map establishes the standards. This general plan map is what establishes the actual land use. So the spread, the layout, the distribution, and the densities. So the medium orange here for the parcel is residential medium. And I've described that in your staff report. Basically allows a variety of types of medium density. You can see that, you know, the other areas of medium density in the city are really like, basically it's an apartment type of density. It allows up to 14.9 units per acre. Whereas if you had a single family general plan land use, you're allowed, it gets up to 6 or 7 units per acre. So it's quite a bit higher. And you can see that RM land use does extend along, you know, a length of Vernonville Road there. The further south, the rest of Vernonville Road is a commercial zone. So it's this stretch between North Loop Road and Redwood Way, actually on both sides, portions of both sides, where it is residential medium density. So that's the background. And this general plan is not being proposed to change. It's just that the zoning. So I did do a little layout for you because it's, you know, it's kind of a subtle or a fine point, the distinction between the general plan and the zoning, but it really drives this whole thing under consideration tonight. So the existing general plan is residential medium density, 14.9 up to 14.9 units per gross acre. And that actually allows on this site, it allows up to 120 units on those 8 acres. If you subtract the steep slope, the bank that goes up to Hilltop, you know, just roughly for example, you know, if you went with just 4 acres of developable land, you would still get up to 60 units on those 4 acres. So it's pretty dense. The general plan allows, you know, well, it's a medium density, but, you know, compared to single family, that's a fairly dense development. And then the proposed is, so there's no change being proposed. And then this current zoning is R16. That what the R16 does, it doesn't establish a density, but it has certain development standards. It's a single family development or single family dwelling unit on per parcel. So no matter what the parcel size is, the zoning code says you're only allowed one unit on that. Subdivision purposes, that 6,000 square foot lot size, or what this would allow, if you know, if we're going to keep the R16 zoning, it would allow condominiums because that's basically an aired subdivision, and you would still have one lot or one dwelling unit per lot. And then you would go either way. whether you did standard lots or smaller lots, you still go through the subdivision process as your discretionary approval by the Planning Commission. And then the proposed zoning is RM, residential multifamily, and that allows multiple units per single parcel. So it's proposed that there's no subdivision. The applicant keeps one parcel, but then the RM allows multiple units on that single parcel. So really you can get the same density whether you subdivide and have individual lots or whether you have all of your units on a single parcel. So it's really what the end result looks like. And in this case, the mobile home park combining zone, again, that's an overlay, that's a standard in our zoning code that may be applied to a parcel that allows mobile home parks. And that whole process is a conditional use permit. So that would be a future site plan, conditional use application, design review application, and really a set of very detailed standards that's in your handout, and I've got it on the screen, summarized on the screen, so I'll go over that in a minute. It does require, I think there's like 30 standards that would be required on that site. So let's see. So the applicant did not turn in, so he wanted to separate the rezone from the actual development plan. And sometimes that doesn't work out because if the change is bigger, so having, to change the density, we're keeping the density the same here. If they were going to change that density, say to something higher, that would require environmental review with this change. So right now it's exempt from CEQA because basically the environmental review has already been done when the general plan was created. So the general plan had its own environmental review, an EIR, when that was updated, and it considered development of this parcel at 14.9 units per gross acre. So in that case, this rezone, it's by itself does not have an impact on the environment because it's already, that impact has already been analyzed as far as traffic and just the overall density impact on the city, the population growth that results from this type of a development. So this is a preliminary sketch, really just to give you an idea of what his idea or what his thoughts are about this development. Ronerville Road on the south side, or I'm sorry, on the west side, a single driveway. You can see the individual mobile home spaces, and then a road through the site. And up at the top of the screen is basically the steep bank that goes up to Hilltop. And he did do some utility drawings and typical space, parking space and utilities on. So he did demonstrate that with the utilities and with the layout and with the placement of this site on the land that it is at least feasible. And again, detailed or engineered site plan and design review, demonstration of compliance with all of the standards, and environmental review for the impact of the development actually on the site itself. Those things would be submitted to the city, to the Planning Commission for review with that conditional use permit. But his desire was to get the rezone approved or considered so that then he could invest into the design of the site. So these are the standards. So the city, in addition to that mobile home park overlay zoning code section, the municipal code does also have detailed development standards specifically for mobile home parks. And that includes minimum size for the parcel. I think it's 2 acres. So mobile home park not on not less than 2 acres, access standards, utility standards, compatibility with the neighborhood and the natural setting. Granted, this is a very general standard in the code, but it at least allows consideration as part of that use permit. Some setback and separation standards between units and from the public or from the road. It requires private outdoor living area, it requires outdoor storage units, it requires landscaping, screening of the perimeter, pedestrian walkways, laundry accommodation, screened storage area, a solid waste plan, and design review. So there will be quite a bit of consideration in, in that proposal, in the site plan and the conditional use permit. Let's see, a couple other things. I'm just going to go back to the general plan. So I think a lot of the consideration hinges on, just realizing the implications of the general plan staying the same and allowing the development at this density and the zoning, which those standards are more flexible. And, as long as we stay with the density. And there are sections in the zoning code and the general plan that say, or in the zoning code, that does not allow changes to the density. The zoning cannot change the density. So that is set. Actually, what it would take is a general plan amendment, which is not being considered and which is a kind of a bigger deal than a rezone as far as the process goes. So, we have, because the general plan is not being changed, the zoning code is allowed to be changed. The proposed rezone is consistent with the general plan because we're not increasing the density. We're developing, it's being proposed at that density, just a different layout from what you would have in an R16, but not really that different because the R16 still allows something like a condominium development. So all this does is it adds a layer, adds the zoning layer on top of that general plan. We have oversight by the Planning Commission. So there's discretionary approval and we have detailed standards. So really this is a first step. Again, this does not approve a specific mobile home park. It just creates the opportunity for a mobile home park. If approved tonight or by the city council in the future, the applicant would then move forward with his development plans and return to the commission for, again, the use permit and design review. The site plan would need to conform with all of the requirements. You'd have the ability to, actually see the mobile home park as it's proposed, make comments on it, make recommendations, make requirements. And again, an initial study, an environmental initial study under the California Environmental Quality Act would look at the site-specific impacts, and that would include traffic, biological, wildlife resources on the site. And, on a site parcel that small, typically that would include a biologist to visit the site, make sure there aren't any, rare or endangered species on the site, would check for wetlands on the site and that those aren't being disturbed. Typically, mitigation measure on wildlife resources would be if any trees are removed during breeding season, that a biologist would be on site to check for, nesting. So that's really what is the normal mitigation measure. There's ample, there's open space, endless open space to the east of the site, as you saw on the aerial photo. So, that site has been identified for residential development, as has the, the areas along Ronerville Road. So, So we have consistency, really what this does is allow ownership of those mobile home units. Again, otherwise the density could be developed, or the site could be developed to that density. And the last item, the city did receive, I think, 8 letters over the last week since we sent out the public notice. Katie, is the administrative assistant, is going to read those into the record. That's required under the state law currently. And with the Zoom meetings, people aren't allowed to come in person and speak to the planning commission. We will have an opportunity for call-in, but we are required to read letters into the record on the Zoom meetings. But I did want to summarize the public comments fall under 3 categories. One is I'm combining property value with aesthetics. So that was a common complaint that they felt, the public that responded felt that the mobile home park is going to reduce their property values. And I did take some pictures. I went around and took some pictures of some other mobile homes in Fortuna. And, I believe that idea that it would lower property values is really based on, public perception. And, we've all seen some mobile homes that aren't maintained well, and they definitely look shabby and definitely can be a blight to the neighborhood. But it's really based on how they're designed and what kind of amenities or what kind of design features enhance the mobile home park, and also how they're maintained. So for example, I think Royal Crest does a really good job of maintaining their site. They have, a lot of greenery and a lot of, this nice landscape setback, and, fencing that creates screening. And I really don't see anything here that is diminishing, the neighborhood across the street. So, mobile home parks definitely do not have to be a blight or diminish property values. And here's their, the entrance at Royal Crest. Again, it's landscape and it's well maintained, and their streets are kept clear. There's no junk ever allowed to be, piled up, and they don't even allow parking on the street. So, it's really well maintained. This is actually the applicant's mobile home park on Newburgh Road. And, again, just like Rail Crest, you have the streets that are clear from parking, and there isn't any junk piled up, and everything is kept clean. There's landscaping at the entry. There's, nice fencing, and the fencing is well maintained. I think the ground cover probably is the only thing that's probably a little, old. It's kept clean and it's not weedy. I think it's just been allowed to kind of dry up. But, here on both sides of the entry, you see landscaping and a nice fence. And this is the other side where you have trees, and the fencing is nice. And you can see that there isn't any junk. That's our other slide. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Oh. And then the wildlife is one of the, another comment. And, this is really an infill development. It's intended to develop with residential, just like the surrounding neighborhoods have been allowed to do. And the environmental review is going to, walk the site, identify any plant or animal sensitive species. And, there isn't going to be any diminishment of any species because there's ample area, to the east of Fortuna. And then the slope stability is a comment that has come up, and I should go back. Let's see if we can go back to the beginning here. The slope stability really has to do with the adjoining property to the Hilltop neighborhood. I'm going to try to get this back on the screen. That's not showing the full screen, is it?
No, you see you.
Oh, okay. Yay. Okay, let me try it again. Okay. Let's just stick with this.
There it is.
But you've got the small screen.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with this one. Okay, so the slope on the northeast side of this property is part of the Hilltop development. And as you probably have seen driving by, it is benched. There's been, it's been cut and benched. And the purpose of that is to replace soil that has been removed. And it's benched so that that soil can be compacted to an adequate compaction rate where it won't slide. So it will be engineered. There's an engineering report that describes how it's going to be repaired. And that is scheduled to be done by that developer, Danco, in the next 2 months, so August and September, or September and October before the rain starts. City manager is working with him to make sure that that gets done this fall. As far as the slide, there's been no slide of the natural native soil. The slide that took place was excess surplus soil that was placed there when the road was constructed and when some of the paths were created. So that surplus soil was pushed over the edge of the hill and left there. It was not compacted. So, that created a kind of an instability in itself. And then it did slide, and it looked like a natural slide, but it was actually just excess soil that was placed there. And so, there's been, I know that they did one year, not last summer, but the summer before, the developer himself, repaired that in his own manner, and it wasn't compacted properly. So it really wasn't considered stable. And so the city required an engineered report, and that didn't get done last year. But it's scheduled to get done by the end of the summer, beginning of fall. And the city also has their own engineer. We have our own engineer who has looked at the report and written up some comments and has found it to be a good plan. And so he's going to be kind of overseeing the work and making sure that it gets done according to that plan. So that's that. With those repairs, the slope will be basically like new, and won't we'll remove that threat of any failure onto the applicant site. And the other part of that is that when an environmental report is done for this development, they will need to take into consideration any stability or instability, any neighboring instability, which would include that slope. So, as part of that development, they will need to make sure that their, the residents are safe. So that's something it's in process, both the repair of the hillside and then demonstration of the safety of that parcel. So with that, I'll turn it back to the Planning Commission and open it up for any questions. Oh, I did want to I think Katie needs to read the letters into the record. So that'll take a few minutes. There are 8 letters.
Katie, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to read these letters. We've received them between August 19th and today. And then once I'm done reading the previously submitted public comment, then we'll open up the phone lines for phone-in public comment. If you want to phone in and give your public comments, wait a few minutes until you see the numbers on the screen, and then I will be taking calls one at a time, get any. So the first letter I have is from Christopher and Marianne Lawrence, and they state that we are owners of a home at 797 Hilltop Drive, Fortuna, California, 95540. We intend that this will become our permanent home in the near future. It is therefore with great concern that we received your letter about the application for a change of zoning at Ronerville Road, south of Loop Road, APN 202-061-006. We are writing to strongly object to the proposal to change the zoning to multifamily/mobile homes. We maintain that this proposal will significantly and negatively impact upon the value of our home and the other properties on Hilltop Drive. Although the effect on our property prices are our greatest concern, there are other issues we feel that you should take into account. There is hillside slippage at the rear of the properties on Hilltop Drive, and the latest slippage revealed at least 2 springs coming out of the hill. Although our developer Danco will be repairing the hillside, there must remain a degree of uncertainty and danger to any properties at the bottom of the hill, and the potential of subsequent litigation both to us and the city. Apart from these considerations, we would like to draw your attention to the effect on the wildlife that abounds in the area. From our personal and frequent observations, we know that the area is a habitat and local route for deer and bird life, including red-tailed hawks. A stream also runs through the area, which not only is a source of water for the wildlife, but also provides important drainage from the hillside. We therefore request that the zoning change proposal is refused. Should you need to contact us, we can be reached, and I'm not going to read their private phone numbers out loud. Regards, Christopher and Marianne Lawrence. So that is letter number 1. Letter number 2 is from Leroy and Janet Smithson. And they state, we own our home at 781 Hilltop Drive in Fortuna. We recently received a letter notifying us of a planned meeting to change the zoning on the property at the bottom of our property. We are quite concerned about it and object to any change to the zoning of that property. Listed below are our chief concerns. The hillside landslide has been going on for 3 years. The first attempt was a failure and made the problem worse. A second attempt will be made starting in late August. If there are future problems with that work, access to the hillside will be unavailable, which could result in possible legal action. The drainage of any system installed in the upcoming work will probably be directed to the west of the uphill property and directed downhill onto the property below. Existing and future home values on Hilltop Drive will be detrimentally impacted. 1 or more red-shouldered hawks lives in the area. They may nest in the conifer trees on the property and hunt in the fields just up North Loop Road. Sincerely, Leroy and Jeanette Smithson. Okay, letter number 3 from Bob and Jenny Canavari. Dear Fortuna Planning Commission, last night, August 20th, 2020, we were made aware of the upcoming Planning Commission meeting on August 25th, 2020 by our neighbor Brad Chamberlain. As of today, we have not received notification of this meeting. The agenda item, the rezoning and mobile home park, is of great concern to us. We have adjoining pieces of property on 2 sides of the Chisholm property. As an adjoining property owner, we strongly oppose the zoning change. The proposed change to residential multifamily is surrounded by land zoned single dwellings. Another concern we have is the instability of the hillside. There is an active landslide that originates above and encroaches on the Chisholm property. Please reschedule the meeting for at least 30 days so that we, as well as other property owners, can fully participate. We thank you for your time and consideration of our concerns. Sincerely, Bob and Jenny Canavari. Okay. Next up. This was sent to me by Leroy Smithson on behalf of Ken Rhodes. In simple terms, liability issues should be of paramount concern for the city. Hillside erosion has proven to be an issue for the southerly facing row of homes on Hilltop Drive. Failed attempts to mitigate the hillside slippage remain to be resolved. Archival documents obtained from the city and created during the permitting process clearly state the need to not disturb the slope in question, leaving doubts that some of the now complete development should not even have been allowed. The rezoning under consideration should include the case to rezone, quotation marks, don't touch with any development for safety, end quote. An extra wet rainy season could subject improvements below, as well as existing ones above, to catastrophic damage. We can't imagine it's in anybody's interest to invest in the liability risks associated with future development to the area in question that may result. Sincerely, Leroy Smithson, Rhodes. And he included a the subdivision parcel, old parcel map that was published online and with the agenda packet. All right, next up. Please see the message below. My name is Mike Losi, and I'm a longtime resident of the city of Fortuna. Honorable Chairman Mobley, commissioners, and city staff, regarding your consideration of the zoning change request on AP 202-061-006, located in the 3400 block of Ronerville Road, I am urging your examination of the geological instability of the hillside directly located uphill, northeast of the property in question. A change of zoning allowing a higher population density could expose the city to unnecessary liability in the event of a mud debris flow from the extensive slippage which has already occurred. Thank you for your consideration of these points in your deliberation. And then the next letter that I have is quite long. There is a 3-minute limit, so Liz did touch on the points in this one. I'll give it a go. This one is from Jane Jennison Williams and William Williams, and they live at 725 Hilltop Drive. So this one says, as adjoining homeowners, we respectfully request that the Planning Commission deny both 1, the application of Mr. Chisholm for multifamily rezoning, and 2, the application for a mobile home combining zone, a T-zone, and use permit for the 8-acre project parcel. Project parcel is surrounded by residential single-family properties. The project property is bounded on the north partly by numerous single-family residences, including our home. Even though our home and some of the other nearby homes are located uphill from the project property, our southern boundary lines abut the northern boundary of the project parcel. Project parcel is bounded on the south across Ronerville Road by several single-family residences. 1, the general plan. Compatibility policy. The area around the project parcel is an existing residential neighborhood. One of the policies set forth in the City of Fortuna general plan is compatibility. The general plan, in its statement of policies, says the city shall ensure that land use and development decisions are not detrimental to the positive character and identity of Fortuna's existing residential neighborhoods. And they cite General Plan Part 2 LU-5.1, land use 5.1. Creation of a trailer park on the project parcel is absolutely inconsistent with the single-family residential character of our existing neighborhood and is certainly detrimental to the single-family home character and nature of our entire present single-family neighborhood. The general plan also provides that one of the goals of development should be the creation of balanced, harmonious land use types. And they cite General Plan Part 2, Land Use -4. Creation of a trailer park is certainly not harmonious with the present single-family residential character and nature of the neighborhood. B, consistency. Our neighborhood is zoned single family residential on the City of Fortuna general plan. Fortuna's municipal code states that any changes in the zoning must be consistent with the general plan. Citing Fortuna Municipal Code Section 17.07.200.h.1, creation of a trailer park in the middle of a residential neighborhood that has long been zoned as residential single family under the general plan is certainly not consistent with the general plan. Zoning established by the general plan should not be changed on a piecemeal basis unless there has been some significant change in the area or unless something unusual has happened that makes existing zoning inappropriate. In our case, nothing significantly new has happened in our area, and certainly nothing has occurred that would justify vesting a single lot with the ability to have seriously high density while all other properties around it have low density. Okay, we've just about hit 3 minutes, so I'm just gonna hit on the main points. This letter was published with the agenda. It's available online if anybody that is watching the meeting would like to read the letter in its entirety. It's on our website as part of the agenda. They do mention greatly increasing the density. And then again, the justification of changing circumstances, quality of life, adverse impacts, financial injury. They mentioned spot zoning, which occurs when special rights and less restrictive zoning is given to one single smaller parcel that is in the middle of a larger area that has more restrictive zoning. And they also mention loss of some local control because of the state's regulations regarding mobile home parks. So, and it's signed Jane Jennison Williams and William C. Williams. And that was a bit over the 3 minutes. We have two more. This one's a quick one from Vincent Peloso. And he states, I am not an engineer, nor do I own property abutting this parcel. Yet for the past decade or so, my wife and I have watched this hillside deteriorate and concur with the comments you've already received from Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Smithson, and Mr. Canavari that allowing further development on this parcel is ill-advised and short-sighted at best. At the very least, the developers should be required to get an engineering report on the long-term stability of this slope. To this uneducated eye, it doesn't look, and there's a period after that. So I think there might be a word missing. And then this last one is a petition that is signed by 12 folks, all residing at Hilltop Drive, and it looks like one on Ridgeview, which is just to the east of Hilltop. We, the undersigned, are residents of the Hilltop Drive Ridgeview Court community. We wish to strongly protest at the proposed zoning change from single-family homes to multifamily mobile homes on Runnerville Road, south of Loop Road, APN 202-061-006. Our objections are based on the following: significant and negative effect on the values of all of our homes in the community. The price that we paid for our homes did not include a mobile home multifamily development in the immediate vicinity. Several homes on the west side of Hilltop were sold as view lots with the customary addition to the purchase price. The negative impact on the number two, the negative impact on the wildlife that regularly use the area, including the stream at the bottom of the hill. And I will be including this petition in the minutes along with the rest of the letters. And those will be published on the website as well with all of the signatures. So that is the last one.
Okay. So with all that, does anybody have any questions for staff? Okay, I do. So I got a couple questions for Liz. And so looking at the parcel and knowing what I know about being here forever and as long as I have, so there's a couple of houses, a barn out there on that parcel. Are there any wells, anything like that that we got to worry about out there on that parcel?
There,
Water. quality and stuff like that's going to happen later on that we're going to start worrying about.
I mean, there possibly could be, that would be identified on the site plan, on the detailed, project site plan when that's submitted. That's a standard item that would need to be shown. It's on our checklist of information. And then, it looks like they would be developing on that area. So, where the houses are. So any wells in that case can be maintained, but typically they're abandoned. And then they do need to be abandoned according to the health department standards, which would be filling them, capping them, filling them.
Liz, can I provide information?
Yeah, please.
There are no wells on the property.
Okay.
There are no wells.
No wells.
So those are all so the houses are all on city water.
That's correct.
Wait, and there's city water, city sewer, all that kind of good stuff coming up, and that makes it, a lot easier to deal with in the long run, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else out there have any questions?
Yeah, I do. So I'm inclined to support this project. I think the zoning, and I support Mr. Chisholm's right to utilize this property. I do, there are some objections which the merit may vary. That out of character with the general plan is interesting. I don't know how powerful that is. The stability of the hill, obviously, traffic, but on the other side of that, that's improving the stock. It's an infill development. It's close to town. It's bringing in more affordable housing, which I think is important. And then a general question, with this R16 at a 6,000 square foot minimum, that would allow you 8 watts per acre, if I'm correct.
Right. That's right.
And the density on the infill, population is growing. We'd rather develop in the city and the adjacent areas than spreading out further and wider. So I think this is probably a solid, a solid thing to do. The engineering, the stability of the hillside, you can't dig the toe out of the hill or it comes down on top of you. Maybe there needs to be restrictions on what can be done in that boundary area between the hill above. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Can I weigh in for a second? That slide is not on Mr. Chisholm's property. It is encroached upon his property because it could fail and slide over the ground.
Right.
So
That's why it's a concern.
understand.
It's not on his property, but it is a concern for everyone involved, especially later on when we approve it and it comes back, the city said, yeah, this is all good and we're okay with it. And then it does come down and we have a bunch of people having problems. So that's why it's a concern at this moment.
My concern as well.
The question I got, and it was in one of the letters about water coming off the hill. Is there, Liz, or is there not any kind of stream water underground thing coming out and helping on the erosion part of this?
So what I've heard is that there are pipes that are diverting some of the water that have been
Onto
installed.
Chisholm's property?
No, on the Danco property at the top. So that was from the building department describing to me what, some of the activities or the repairs that have taken place. And there's probably some water, like there were in a couple of letters, they talked about a stream, and I assume that's at the toe maybe of the hill. If there is a stream or if there is any wetlands, that's going to be protected as, a drainage way.
I was just worried about the erosion part. We all know how water and and hillsides work together and they don't.
Well,
usually
I mean, when there's surface
up-
water, you saw last winter, the surface of the cuts are covered
Right.
during the winter. Then the building inspector also said that they haven't seen any springs coming out of that hill. So maybe
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
That's, I beg to differ with you. If on the north end of that property where the retaining wall is, that goes up towards Loop Road, there's a spring that comes out of that hill in that retaining wall almost year round.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm talking about out of the cuts that have been made, out of the upper part of the hill is where I was focusing, the idea of springs. I haven't seen any springs, and just verbally, I mean, I haven't been to that site, but I did talk to the city engineer, or actually the city manager, Merritt Perry, today, and I also talked to the building official. And the building official said there aren't any springs, and but then he also said that there's a pipe that's been installed, and that must be at the top. I'm not sure, but that's just what I've been told. But really, it comes down to, Mr. Chisholm's project is going to have to demonstrate safety. So if it's an off-site safety feature, the city is working with Dan Johnson, the owner of that adjoining site, to get those repairs done this fall. So hopefully, by the time Chisholm is ready to, if he does get permits and is ready to build, it should be taken care of. I mean, Danco has a responsibility to protect, to repair that hillside, protect the houses that are up there, and to protect, adjoining downhill properties. So, I don't see how, a project downhill can get approved if there's a threat from slope, from.
Well, the fact is, we don't know if there's a threat because they haven't fixed it yet.
Right. Right. No, that's agreed. I understand.
Well,
But I mean, this rezone is not going to allow development. It's the conditional use permit. Excuse me. It's the
Right, the
conditional
conditional
use.
use permit, we'll do it. So if we rezone it, no matter how we look at it at the end of the day, no matter if we rezone it or not rezone it, there is still the opportunity to, if it's not a mobile home park, it could be condominiums, it could be apartments, it could be something else.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Right now, it can be built with single family homes of the density that is allowed. That's already established by the general plan.
right. Well, and even if it were built with single family homes, you wouldn't punch the road in or build the homes right up on that little wet north end of the thing anyway.
Right.
That'd be a poor judgment and wouldn't pass muster.
Right.
Regardless.
Yeah, I would call that north end not buildable because of the slope and the water, and there's
Right.
probably wetlands, at the base in that.
Right.
So.
Well, while we're all talking about this, let's throw out the phone number for everybody real quick. That way they can call in. Obviously, there's a lot of people looking at this and wanting to comment on it. So again, the number is going to come up, and I'm going to tell you it again. It's 707-725-1484. So call in while we're talking about this. That gives you a little bit of time to sit on hold and make sure that everybody's on that as we're discussing this.
Can I ask a question about the density?
Absolutely.
So I haven't sat down and done the math, but how many mobile spots are we talking if we did convert this? 28, 30,
You said 28.
28? So my
I've got your call. Can you hold momentarily?
Keep going.
Or is the caller holding?
The caller holding.
Okay, so I guess my concern is, I think the state minimum is 35, and then you have to have on-site management. If it's under that, you don't have to have on-site management. So I guess my concern when I hear about some of the issues about people talking about the different values and such is that if you don't have good management on site to maintain those properties, things can get out of hand. So I guess my concern would be if we did rezone this, how are we sure that the petitioner is going to be able to maintain the quality and upkeep as we see in the others? Because the others, I'm pretty sure, have on-site management.
Right. So that would come in when we start doing the actual permitting for it and the approvals later on when it comes back to us, right? Because this project will definitely come back no matter what to the Planning Commission.
Well, provided that we pass it tonight.
Well, yeah, provided if we pass it, whether we pass it or not, because like you said, they can come back even with the way it's zoned. If you wanted to go back and put apartments in, it is at that point okay to do so.
Do we want to give Jeff or Mr. Chisholm a chance to speak?
Absolutely. Ray, you there?
Did you want Katie to take calls later? Do you want to?
No, I want Katie to take calls. Katie,
Well-
how many can you put on hold?
It's on the screen that we're taking calls.
Yeah, and I've
Okay,
got
yes.
folks waiting on the line.
Can I make a suggestion? We let the calls come in because Mr. Chisholm may be able to address those as well.
Okay, let's do that. So we're going to open it up to public comment. Remember, again, people, folks at home, that we'll give you 3 minutes or so to address the committee. Please understand that, hey, we might disagree, but be respectful to one another. Here we go. Go ahead, Katie, bring on the first person, please.
Okay, first caller, go ahead.
Please state your name. Hello, can you hear us?
Can you hear him?
I cannot.
No,
Katie, I can't hear anything. I can hear background noise, basically.
One moment, we're having a little technical difficulties.
okay.
Okay,
That's better. That sounds better.
you can hear me. Could you hear him?
I just started to when he said that's fine. Nope, we're back to square one.
Okay,
Can she put her speaker by the phone? See where you're, maybe we can hear the phone better. You seem like when
okay. Go ahead, Leroy. Let's see if I can hear you better.
It starts and then it dies off. We're not hearing him, Katie. No, can't hear you.
We hear you, but we can't hear him.
There is, I often, people could come up, there's a. it's
There
more
you
of a
go.
repeat
Now you
of-
can hear.
There you go. Now you died again. Get it back to where you were at.
And they can't,
Right.
oh. Am I good to
One more
talk?
time. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Did I get to the subdivision plot that had a fault line?
It keeps.
Slippages occurred. It's started back in
Right
2017.
there, leave it right there,
In
Katie.
2018, they did some work. They brought it up to our lot level, but it wasn't particularly, it was compacted vertically, but not along the surface. And it had, I found holes in it, cavities. It collapsed very quickly. By February, we had a 10-foot drop. It's now also in my backyard, I think something close to 15 to 20 feet. There is a weepage, I wouldn't call it a stream, a weepage of water that comes out at approximately 20 feet down and collects out there. The city approved these houses to be built, but there are problems, and we're quite concerned about it because I hear funny noises. I'm getting a lot of cracking, which I know concrete cracks, and it's reinforced. I get a lot of cracking, and usually louder than what you would think of as settling. And
Hold it back where you was at, Katie.
Thank you, Mr. Smithson.
So we got a lot of that, but not a whole lot of that.
Next caller.
Okay, so wherever you were holding that for that time period, that was the spot. You can hear him pretty well.
All right, we'll do that again. Hi, you're on with the Planning Commission. Please state your name.
Brad Chamberlain.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, I'm
Go
calling
ahead.
about this development. There were a few things the staff didn't talk about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay.
No, we're not. We're not hearing him, Katie.
What's that?
There it is. We're having some technical difficulties, and she's trying to make that happen for us. So
Okay. You got it now?
it's sounding better. Sounding better.
Anyhow, the staff left that out of the review when they talked to you about it, that they had brought this up several years ago, and I see him talking. And
Go ahead.
Anyhow, the pipes are in the ground. They are piped towards the property. I watched them put them in. I got pictures of them doing it if you need those. And I don't know what the new plan up there is. And the family owns the water rights on that hill. So we were wondering on that. I sent a letter last night. Apparently it didn't get sent in to you for some reason. And I just wanted to complain about this. I do not want the zoning changed. I would like to see it stay the same as it is. I said last time, build houses, develop it, single families. I'm not a problem with the development of the land. I don't want a trailer park next to me. I've been here for 60 years, and that's my feeling on it. So, and I did not get a notice of this meeting either. That was one thing that really bothered me. For some reason, it didn't come to my house, and the other house we have, the houses here, we did not receive those letters either. So, anyhow, that's what I have to say about it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I don't think so.
Hey, Chris, is it our turn?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. While we're waiting for somebody else to call in, we could go.
So my name's Jeff Lycombe, 301 Newell Drive, longtime resident of Fortuna, and I'm Ray's agent as well. So I heard a lot of different concerns about the project, and I just kind of had some highlights. First and foremost, the slope instability that is above Ray's property, there's an engineered solution for that, and that's the responsibility of Danco. And if that's not adequately addressed, then if the rezone goes through and the layering for the mobile home goes through as well. Then in CEQA, there's a whole section in CEQA for slope instability and geologic instability, and it has to be evaluated. And so if the problem's not fixed at that point, then it would have to be addressed within the CEQA study. So that was just point number one. And so also the design, the engineered design to repair that slope, it has pipes inside of the slope repair to dewater that slope and direct the water away from the instability. And that was done by Danco's engineer, who is a subject matter expert. Additionally, the project meets the land use map that's within the general plan. And being a longtime resident of Fortuna, if you go up and down Ronerville Road, and also, the major thoroughfares in town have multifamily type developments on them. So, if you go up Ronerville Road, you see apartments, you see different multi-family places. This is consistent with that as well, and it's a major thoroughfare. Additionally, this is infill, which I've heard everybody say. This is infill. We're not going to be affecting the total density that can be developed on the parcel. The stream that one of the commenters mentioned is across the road, so you have to look at Ronerville Road and then look at the stream that's on the far side. It's kind of an aesthetic thing. The area where all of the lots will be developed, that area is typically 5% slope, which is not a steep slope in engineering terms. The intention is not to develop up on the slope. So, and then I think that's about it for us. I'm not sure if Ray wants to add anything else in. I just kind of wanted to go through those points though, because I think this is a good project. It's going to provide, if we get all the way through approval for the mobile home park in the future, then it's going to provide more affordable housing for the city of Fortuna. And we already know that there's a shortage of that type of housing. And so it's going to fulfill the city's goals as well.
Understand. Ray, you got anything you want to add to it?
Well, the area that would be dealing with is got no more than a 5% slope. The slides are on the other property, on Danco property above us, and we've been courteous to them to let them do whatever they need to do down there. They push a lot of dirt down on us just to get rid of it. And I as far as us causing them a problem, they're causing us a problem.
Right. And that's what they're worried about. And that's what people are worried about, is that in the long run, where is it going to end up? And it's probably going to end up down on the bottom, where if you have this in place and they let it go, that if all those houses decide to come down one day, we have a good earthquake, or we have a good good rain one day, and it all comes down onto a mobile home park, it's not going to look good. So I think that's what some of the concerns are.
Hey, I have one more point about some of the zoning in the area, and I heard that all of the surrounding zoning is R16, or but one parcel away is commercial thoroughfare. There's commercial property, it's not far away. This is in close proximity to bus stops as well, so it kind of fits that use. Anyway, thank you.
All right. Katie, we got anybody else come on the phone? Can't hear you, Katie. You're on mute.
Could I say something? They're proposing. Am I allowed to do this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that new drainage, as I understand it, that they're proposing clear into October here, is going across that side hill, and they're digging ditches into soil that's stable, been stable for 100 years, obviously. And I'm concerned about that patch job they're going to do right there up above the property that I have.
Right. Thank you. Katie? You're still on mute.
It's not muted. Can you not hear me at all?
I hear you now.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Smithson, hello, can you hear me? Mr. Smithson, can you hear me?
We
Okay,
can't hear you, Katie.
Can you start again, please?
Okay. I had an occasion to get a copy of the plan that Dan Johnson's engineer has put together. I don't know if this is what Dan Johnson is going to do, but the plan, the final slope from our property, surface of our property down to Bree Chisholm's area was 22 degrees. The plan showed that it extended onto Bree Chisholm's property.
You broke up right there.
22 degrees, it would probably not slip. But what they did when they did it in 2018 was it was 30 to 35 degree slope, not particularly compacted, and it slid very easily. It was gone in a couple of months. And so the water that's coming out from the base of our property is about 15 to 20 feet down, and I would call it weeping. It's just, you can just see a little trickle, coming out, and it collects. Actually, during the summertime, it evaporated. All winter, there was a puddle of water there. And I'd invite anybody who they want to come up, and I'll be glad to show them the back side of our property and what it looks like. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
So anyone else? So Ray, you still there?
Yeah, we're still here, Chris.
Okay, so I got a question. So hearing all that about they can see water coming out, the residents that are up there, and is that concern you in any way, shape, or form that some of that might be a problem later on? And I think that's where everybody's going with, is not today, but again, 5-10 years from now, when we have a good earthquake, or we do have that one big storm, that one of those houses coming down on top of your trailer park that you want to put in, or apartments, or whatever, it ends up there. The fact that this is there, we all seen it 100 times on the news, where this stuff happens. And that's where I think that's where the concerns are coming. And that's where my concerns coming from, is what happens 10 years from now after we say, hey, nope, it's a good project, let's do it. And what happens then? And does it concern you at all in your?
Well, so as an engineer, okay, and slope stability is not my expertise. I'll just, throw that out there, but I have reviewed the design, and what they're proposing seems like a competent solution. They're dewatering the slopes, digging it out, recompacting it. It seems like they're benching it before they put it in. It seems like the right solution. If it is or not, I mean, with engineering, you go with somebody who has a level of expertise that's worthwhile. And
I get you.
Yeah. One of our concerns was dewatering that slope as well, because we didn't want to concentrate the drainage that's coming off that slope into one location and then develop further wetlands on Ray's property.
Exactly.
So we've been talking to them, and I think the design is competent. My concern would be more generating those wetlands from them. I mean, because that can affect his developability of his project, whether this goes through or not.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of have to go with the subject matter expert as opposed to just talking off the cuff. I mean, I think there's enough money at stake, and there's certainly a lot of people's houses are at risk. So
Exactly.
I think Dan went and got a good engineer who knows what he's doing, and this is within his level of expertise to fix the slope.
Okay, anybody have any more questions going on? Katie, do we have any more phone calls?
We do not. I think we can close the public comment section.
Okay, motion to close public comment.
I'll make the motion to close public comment.
Need a
I'll second
second.
that.
Thank you.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Blakely,
I don't think he can hear you. Sandy, their motion to close public comment. Aye.
Okay,
Or do you want?
I gotta try to get back.
We can hear you.
not muted. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Not well.
Yeah, I can't see
Very
you. or-
close.
Better when you're closer.
Nobody can hear me. Let me unmute.
I can hear you,
I can
Katie.
hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yep, that's better.
Question, call the roll.
About as close to the laptop as I can get.
No, you're good. We can hear you.
Okay. So we got Commissioner Blakely, Commissioner Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Church,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallie,
Yes.
Chairman Mobley,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Rogers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to bring it back to you guys on this. So it sounds like there's a lot going on with this, and I'd like to hear from you guys of what you all think about this. Jason, you have anything you want to bring up or any concerns you have?
No. Yeah.
Okay, how about anybody else? You guys got anything you want to talk about? I'm not hearing nobody. Okay, so if we're not talking about it, then we're looking for a motion. Anybody willing to make a motion on this?
Were you looking for a motion to vote, take a vote, or?
Yeah, since we're not talking about it, we've gone through all the process, so either make a motion to go ahead or we make a motion to not go ahead. So this is where we're at right now. Unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up, want to talk about.
I'll make the recommendation to the Fortuna City Council regarding the amendment of the Fortuna zoning map, amending the zoning of APN 202-061-006 from residential single-family R1 through 6 to residential multifamily RM, and to add a mobile home T combining zone to support the development of a future mobile home park.
I'll second.
So Katie, we can't hear you now. Still can't hear you.
Chris, did you hear me second?
I did. I heard you second.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
There
we
you
can
go.
hear you. There you are.
Hey, all right. Commissioner Blakely,
No.
Commissioner Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Church,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallie,
No.
Chairman Mobley,
It's a hard one. Yes.
and Vice Chair Rogers.
Yes.
Okay,
So just for the public's information, this should go to the council. It's tentatively scheduled for Monday, September 21st. And we will send out notices again. We'll make sure that Mr. Canaveri is on there, and we'll just, make sure that everybody gets their notices. So September 21st, 6 p.m., unless otherwise notified, or just check, call the city for confirmation.
and understand this is not the final.
That's
That
right.
he had, this is not okay him to build at all. So there's going to be a whole lot of process go through this. So at this time, that's why we went through this process. So
That's
thank
right.
you
I
all.
mean, the other main point is that the density is not changing. The density is established. It's just kind of changing what, the form that will look like. So, there's a couple of different options, but the number of units will not change. And any discretionary, anything else that he builds there, there's already 2 houses, single family houses. Anything else is going to take a discretionary permit from the planning commission. So, this doesn't authorize any development, and anything else that does come forward, that discretionary review will require environmental review. So, it's going to be more closely analyzed, and nothing's going to get approved that puts anybody in danger. So I know.
That's where it's going to come out. Okay, so let's moving on to, we have nobody else except staff comments, staff communications.
I didn't bring anything prepared. We're busy. Got a lot of things coming up. We're meeting with the consultants tomorrow for a kickoff meeting for the SB2 planning grant. There's the 6 planning projects that will be coming forward. They're not development projects, but they're planning ordinances and things like that. So those will be coming to you in the coming months. And so we really look forward to that. But that'll keep you guys and us busy for about a year.
So you have one that's coming up that you're going to kick me out of, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Well,
right.
let me know well ahead of time. So don't show up. All right. Any other comments, any questions, anything going on? Anybody want to bring up? Well, thank you everyone for showing up. Thank everyone at home for calling in. We really do appreciate that people in the community get involved. And just because it sounds like it didn't go your way tonight, it doesn't mean it didn't go your way tonight. It's just the process that we have to take, and it will work itself out as we go. The sequel plan will bring up all those issues on the properties above, and that's most of this will come out, I believe. So looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move, we adjourn.
Second.
All right,
Katie, can I
roll
get a-
call, last roll call of the night. Yay, it looks like you can hear me. Okay. Commissioner Blakely,
Yes.
Commissioner Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Church,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallie,
Yes.
Chairman Mobley,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Rogers.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you all.
Cool.
Have a good week.
See
Thank
y'all.
you.